The videos are everywhere, from mainstream media to individual YouTubers, testing American civic knowledge.
I'll give you $1 if you can name any continent.
I don't know.
Can Americans identify other countries? Can they even answer basic knowledge questions? The verdict appears conclusive, that Americans are stupid. To others, they may not be stupid, but yes, they must be dumb. If they come from the land of everything great, be it technologies, extensive road networks, great companies, and even renowned universities, how dare they lack basic knowledge of other countries? In this video, we explore whether data from population surveys show the same trend, explain reasons why Americans may demonstrate limited knowledge of other countries, and answer the question, are Americans really stupid? Testing Americans' general knowledge has never been trendy. I mean, everyone is doing it.
No. Can you name any states that border Canada?
I know it, but I just, it's like right there, but I can't.
But it started even earlier by mainstream media shows. Jimmy Kimmel set the pace. Here, have a look.
The test is very simple. When on the street, we asked people who were passing by to name a country on a map. That's it. We had a map, we said name a country, any country, and here's how that went.
Can you name any country on this map?
Honestly, my geography is so horrible. I can't name anything. Like
Try
nothing.
naming something.
Is it South Africa?
Nope.
We have the country of Asia.
Nope. That's a continent.
Then every comedian began to do it, and everyone was captivated by the exposure of Americans' ignorance. But everyone let it pass. You know, this is the mainstream media, and we know the responses are cherry-picked for entertainment purposes. But the thread has found a new life of its own. YouTubers of all shape and form are in American colleges, from Ivy League universities to community colleges, and even high school in some cases. According to the most of these videos, the jury is out. Americans look dumb. Yes, they kind of have a limited general knowledge, not only of international affairs, but of American affairs as well.
Where did we gain our independence from?
I don't know. Didn't they go to war?
Yeah, who did we fight against?
Everybody.
But what are the professionals finding out? Like large-scale survey companies. We have one. In March 25th of 2022, Pew Research Center released their report on a survey of over 2,000 Americans. The findings are not different from those in the streets. First, 79% of the participants knew Kim Jong-un was from North Korea, yet only 51% knew the current US Secretary of State. Say paranoia, Americans do fear being nuked. Surprising still, 74% of the participants knew Catholicism was the dominant religion in Latin America. However, only 56% knew Ukraine was not part of NATO. I mean, which of the two is easier? Your guess is as good as mine. Despite the movies and all veterans from the 20-year Afghan war, only 48% of the respondents knew Kabul to be the capital of Afghanistan. Yes, it's that bad. And despite all the Indian tech CEOs, only 41% of Americans could identify the Indian flag. Moreover, only 26% of the respondents identified Nigeria as the most populous country and leading oil producer in Africa. And even worse, only 17% had the knowledge of Xinjiang region in China. Yes, only 17%, despite the widespread reporting of the Uyghur Muslims' genocide in China.
New evidence on how China has treated imprisoned Uyghur Muslims in the country's Xinjiang region. John Sudworth from our partners at the BBC reports.
These are the faces China never intended us to see from inside its system of mass incarceration in Xinjiang. The government has long denied it's running detention camps for Uyghurs, insisting instead they are vocational schools for willing students.
But we could argue the level of education plays a role. But not really. The differences in the mean score of number of correct answers out of the 12 questions in the survey does not show large differences based on the level of education. To make matters worse, younger people are worse off than those aged 65 years and above. You see, those aged between 18 and 29 years answered on average 5.8 questions correctly, compared to 6.7 for those aged 65 years and above. So I don't think the trend of exposing Americans' gap on basic knowledge of international affairs issues is ending soon.
America.
Okay, this is South America.
Yes, can you name a country in it?
No, I can't.
Did you go to high school?
Yes.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, that's a sad part.
So, what are the reasons that could explain this tragedy? How can Americans have very little civics knowledge, not only of international issues, but also domestic ones? First, schooling is the main reason. Schooling in the US is more skewed towards science, technology, engineering and mathematics, or STEM fields. This can be blamed for Americans' lack of civics education, as learning is heavily focused on STEM fields.
A group of high school students in Rhode Island is suing the state for failing to give them an education in civics. The students say they're taught about world history, wars, ancient civilizations, but without civics, they're not prepared to exercise their constitutional rights, like voting.
You see, schools in America are heavily dependent on federal grants to supplement funding by the states. For decades, American policymakers decided STEM courses were more important. According to a 2016 report by the Government Accountability Office, the US government spends about $25 billion annually to universities to fund research in STEM fields. At elementary level of education, the US is estimated to spend about $3 billion supporting STEM courses and programs, compared to only $4 million for civics education. Therefore, school districts focus on STEM courses while ignoring the rest. In fact, as many as 20 states in the US do not require schools to offer civics education. Worse still, only 6 states in the US require students to take a standalone geography class for one to graduate high school. Comparatively, studying about the world is one of the key learning areas for UK students in Foundation Stage, Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. Therefore, the US education is peculiar in that students are not required to read about the world. The second reason is that limited civic education among educated Americans has permeated the US media. You see, America has this unique ability to grow businesses from SMEs into multinational corporations. This is the case for US media companies. Media organizations such as CNN, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and the Associated Press, among others, spread their influence globally. One would expect Americans to learn more about the world from consuming this media. But no, US media has a reputation of evaluating other countries from an American lens, which reflects limited knowledge of the world by US journalists. International news are rarely discussed in US primetime news, but American news are fed to the rest of the world during primetime. The same is reflected in US motion films industry. For as early as 2010, most popular movies and television shows centered on American actors, making movies and TV shows focused on American lives. But Americans do not get movies about other countries, which exacerbates their information utopia. While this is changing with production companies such as Netflix popularizing movies from other cultures such as Korea and the UK, motion pictures is still very American-centric. Lastly, Americans' lack of civic knowledge could be attributed to the fact that America remains the world's greatest country. While America has issues with homelessness, polarization, and extremely expensive healthcare sector, it remains the land of opportunity. Risk takers driven to achieve difficult and greater things can only do so in the United States. The country remains the greatest country for those looking for opportunities. I mean, unemployment rate in this country is below natural rate of unemployment. America is also diverse. Each of the 50 states have different cultures, climate, and geography. For an ordinary traveler, going on a road trip across multiple US states is like visiting multiple countries in Europe. Essentially, for an American, there are limited reasons to leave the country, which means most Americans have very little interest to explore beyond their home states, let alone foreign countries. All great technologies originate in America. The country has fast tourist attraction destinations, and better still, America is a land of low consumption taxes, which make most basic goods abundant and affordable by US income levels. With most people born in successful metropolises such as New York City or Austin, Texas, able to build successful lives without ever needing to migrate outside their home state, the need to have vast knowledge of the world or geography is severed greatly. So, would I call Americans stupid? Not really. Stupid means someone's lack intelligence or common sense. But Americans are very intelligent with great common sense. You see, Americans are very reasonable, trustworthy, and very intelligent in the area of specialization. Rather, I would say Americans are ignorant on matters relating to international affairs and geography. This reflects the decision by education policymakers to prioritize STEM over civic education. In doing so, they created a very agile society in terms of technology and pushing the boundary of what is considered possible. However, this specialization comes at a cost. That most Americans demonstrate a lack of awareness of not only international issues, but also knowledge of American history and geography itself.